Sure.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to our program, Spiritual Fireside Chat. Tonight, inshallah, we will have another special guest. Our beloved brother Hassan Zeenni is going to be with us, and he will be talking about how should we understand the Qur'an. This will be two parts. Before I invite him, as usual, I'm going to recite a few verses, and then after the recitation, I will introduce his topic and invite him to share his presentation. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وبالحق أنزلناه وبالحق نزل وما أرسلناك إلا مبشرا ونذيرا وقرآنا فرقناه لتقرأه على الناس على مكث ونزلناه تنزيلا قل آمنوا به أو لا تؤمنوا إن الذين أوتوا العلم من قبله إذا يتلى عليهم يخرون للأذقان سجدا ويقولون سبحان ربنا إن كان وعد ربنا لمفعولا ويخرون للأذقان يبكون ويزيدهم خشوعا قل ادعوا الله أو ادعوا الرحمن أيما تدعوا فله الأسماء الحسنى ولا تجهر بصلاتك ولا تخافت بها وابتغ بين ذلك سبيلا وقل الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا صدق الله العظيم. Peace be upon all of you, dear brothers and sisters. Tonight's topic is how should we understand the Quran? Alhamdulillah, Ramadan is approaching. We're going to connect more of our holy text, Al-Quran al-Kareem, inshallah. And the idea is not only reciting, of course, how should we understand? How should we apply it? For this purpose, I think this topic is really timely, and it's great to hear from our beloved brother Hassan Zeenni, inshallah. So please help me welcome brother Hassan Zeenni.
Bismillah, assalamu alaikum everyone, and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think what I am proposing tonight, inshallah, is I wouldn't say different, but a new look or a new approach to understanding the best book that is known to humanity, which is the Quran, for the obvious reasons that I will not go through them. And the first item, if you notice, is for people. And the reason I share with you this verse, that this Quran, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس, that the month of Ramadan, it is the month that Allah bestowed from upon high this book, guidance to humanity, للناس, to all people. And the reason I say that, because you will come across people, and I'm talking to you, to each and every one of us on this on this program. So one time I was in my hometown Beirut, and I was in a small gathering, and we were talking about certain verses in the Quran. And this young lady who I knew well, and she jumped and she said, "You have no right to reflect or to understand on your own. You need to go through a sheikh. You need to go through someone who's knowledgeable, who knows the Quran better than you." I said, "Who told you this?" She said, "It was on the radio." So there is a concerted effort by not all people, but by a class of our clergy, that they are insisting, like what happened to the Christians in the a few hundred years ago, where only the Catholics, they were only the priesthood that can access the Bible, and the whole issue of revolution and Protestant and so on and so forth, where they broke that barrier and made the Bible available for all. While the Quran is available for all, but there is a continuous effort by a segment of our clergy that you and I, who are we to understand the Quran? Whereas the Quran here says, it's very interesting, because hudan linnas, to all people. So that is something that we should always keep in mind. And while it is straightforward, and there's plenty of verses in the Quran that indicates that, nonetheless, you will hear that. How do you know? Do you know Arabic? No, you don't know Arabic. Even if you know Arabic, do you know the grammar? Do you know the balagha? Do you know the nahu? Do you know? And they start throwing at us different words that can be intimidating. To me and to all of us, it should be very clear. I am not here to say that, go ahead and start doing fatwas and start, speaking the Sharia and all topics. No, all I'm saying is there is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this Quran accessible to people like you and I, who that easy to understand, linnas, to all people. And it's a very interesting linnas. Inshallah, later on we'll come back to it, because in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, Alif Lam Mim, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. The muttaqin is a very specific group of people who are God conscious. But in this verse, Allah is talking to the nas, and later on, inshallah, we can build on this. So the first one is linnas. You and I should be confident that when I read the Quran, I am reading it to understand, because Allah is telling me this is for you, Hassan, and for you, Asim, and for you, Sister Anne, and for each and every one of us. I'll go to number 2, the diversity in our understanding. Sometimes the Quran, or any book you read, but you pick any book, your background, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a mechanic, whether you're electrical, you're a father, you're a mother, your experience in life and your knowledge help you see verses in the Quran differently than others. So sometimes you could be sitting with your wife, or sitting with your husband, and both of you will be reading something, a verse or two, and you will find, and I've experienced that many times in Quranic setting, and you will find different understanding. And sometimes you scratch your head and you just say, well, we are reading the same verses and it is very clear, but the background of the individual is different. While the verse is clear and the verse are concrete, yet our understanding, the shade of our understanding is colored by our experience. So if I'm a doctor, for example, or if I'm an engineer, or if I am whatever I am, let's say I am a social justice guy, So when I read about justice, I will see it differently than the politician. The politician might not see what I see because, again, my understanding of the verse is colored by my background, by my experience, by my knowledge. So this is number two we bear in mind when we are approaching the Quran. It is for all, and my experience, my background will color what I see. And so sometimes, because sometimes I see in a setting, people are reflecting and they're trying to share with each other and they collide. And I think we shouldn't collide. I think we should appreciate the diversity of our understanding and each one based on their background. I want to come to this third one, which is gather the verses of the same topic. This is a very challenging. Now I'm talking about methodology. Now I went from more general, number one and number two. Now I'm talking about from 3 and 4 are more methodology. What is the method for me to understand the Quran? In Surah Al-Muzammil, chapter 73, verses 4, 5, and 6. The one that is very, very, verse 4 and verse 5 are critical. And I'm going to say it in Arabic because I think it's important, and then I will read with you the English. أوزت عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. The one that I want to underline is ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Recite the Quran calmly and distinctly with a mind attuned to its meaning. This is the Muhammad Asad, which is the one that I like. Then what is followed, إِنَّ سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. Now, behold, we shall bestow upon you a weighty message. Now, what we have been told throughout our life, Rattil Quran means recite this beautiful voice of Sheikh Asim and Sheikh Saleh. And, they said, this is, you learn how to recite. Rattil Quran tartila means you recite it in the most beautiful way. But what is not jiving well with me is the verse that follows. Inna sanulki alaka qawlan thaqila. It is a weighty message. How a weighty message should come, a verse right after Warattil Qur'ana tartila, recited in the most beautiful way. And this is what we all aspire to do, to recite it in the most beautiful way. But then the verse that follows, brothers and sisters, and this is very important. Allah is saying is, watch carefully of the weighty message. Means, when you hear someone speak something profound, something that is deep, you'll say, oh, that's heavy. Thaqil, this is heavy. This is something heavy. Means that sentiment, that thought, that idea, it has a profound impact on me or on whatever that it is addressing. If that is the case, I went and then I kept thinking. I heard one person was challenging it one time. So what I did is I want to understand what this tartil means. So I went and I did the research and I picked some Arabic, and I'll explain to you in English. الرتل حسن تناسق الشيء means something that it fits well, right? It is in harmony. And then there's another scholar, وقال مجاهد ورتلوا ترتيلا يعني بعضه على أثر بعض, means you bring them one after another one. Athar is right after. وابن عباس said بينه تبينا, make it very clear. So I kept thinking, okay, so if a tartil here, if we notice, yes, there is some aspect means pronounce it the most beautiful way, but it is not settling well with me on verse number 5, because Allah is telling me is a weighty message. So if Brother Asim is reciting this beautiful verse and this beautiful the Quran in a beautiful way, and most of the time we are gravitated to the beauty of the voice more than anything else. But al-qawl means something that is meaningful. Al-qawl means something that you understand. Heavy means something that is weighty. And here when the Mujahid said, put it one after another one, what it came to my mind, brothers and sisters, is, I don't know if some of you know Dr. Fathi Uthman. Dr. Fathi Uthman has a book, let me bring it. And the book, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is the concept of the Qur'an. And in his attempt, it's a very thick book. In his attempt, what he did is he brought a lot of verses together. So for example, if you want to know about al-khalq, about the creation, right? So the Quran talks about creation. So what Dr. Fathi Uthman did is he brought all the verses that are pertinent to that topic and put them together. So what he did is, as Mujahid said here, there's a harmony now, because now what you're doing is you're like when you're painting a picture, there are different parts that can complete a picture. But if you take only a piece of that art or of that painting, then the painting will be ugly or will be incomplete. So what Rattil Quran Tartila and comes after it, that's a heavy message. In other words, is in order for the message to have an impact on us, to have a profound impact on me and on you, what we should do is we should gather all the verses that are pertinent to a topic. And there is those one who, sometimes you are watching a display of the army, like I would watch, and they said, "Hada ratlu dabbabat." This is a rattle. This is the gathering of all the tanks. So the rattle also is when you bring in everything that it is the same and you put it one after another one. In other words, is you bring all the verses that talking about Adam, 40 verse, 50 verse, all the verses that are talking about Ibrahim, talking about Moses, talking about the Jannah, you bring them together, then they will create a weighty message. They will create a profound message that has an impact on you and on me. And this is what I believe, because what Allah is saying is, it is a heavy message, means it is something profound, something weighty, something that's gonna make a change in your life and in my life and each and every one of us life. And then the Quran, which I didn't put the translation here, Inna nashi'ata allayli hiya ashaddu wat'an wa aqwa muqila. The night is the time where the best of reflection, the best of the experience in reflecting on these verses that you gather together. So one of the methodology that I am recommending, brothers and sisters, as we are trying to embark about the Quran, so it can take us to a higher level, which we can talk about that shortly, is to really, spend some time according to what you want. You are a wife and you wanted to see, let's say you are a, we've had recently the Women's Day. Then, if you're interested in this, then you come to the Quran. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you gather all the verses that are addressing you. Or you wanted to know addressing the husband or addressing whatever topic of your choice, and you put them together and then you reflect on them. Then and only then you will be able to benefit from this weighty message. So this will be part of the methodology that I am recommending in the month of Ramadan, that the Quran has so many topics. Just pick one or two topics of your choice, something that's close to your heart, something that you feel it is a priority and it can impact your life, and then go after it. And then, inshallah, this will weighty a message. This will be qawlan thaqila, where it will have a profound impact on you and on me in whatever priority that we choose. So this is methodology number one that I am recommending for us as we move forward with the Quran. Let me go to number 4, which is don't divide the indivisible. The verse, it's clear. كما أنزلنا على المقتسمين الذين جعلوا القرآن عضين. Such as we send down for those who make division, those who break the Quran into parts. How often you and I have heard people who they take not the whole verse. I mean, from the previous one, Tartila is bringing all the verses together, create a harmony in our understanding, not, cut and paste, as they say, but a harmony in our understanding, where that understanding becomes deep and will have a heavy impact on our soul, on our character, on our deeds, on our actions, on everything, right? Here is the opposite. Here, the Quran is warning us. There are those who they are selective. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Woe to those who pray. Oh gosh, if I hear that, why would I pray? Because here there's a warning. And then, but the person who cut the verse, it's a very famous, we always use this example. You cut the verse. Why? Because if you finish the verse, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ, those one who have cut their ties with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you see the difference. And there are so many times we hear people who they will use half a verse, quarter of a verse, 3/4 of a verse, because it suits their agenda, it suits their interest. So if he's angry or she's angry, they will use part of the verse only so they can, show that they are right and they're it's okay with what they're doing. So this is a very basic methodology that I am recommending. Number one is to make sure that we gather all the verses of a specific topic, put them together, so the image, the message is complete, and then only then it will have an impact on you and I, a profound impact on you and I in whatever field or whatever area that we are seeking. The second one is we caution ourselves not to be selective in using part of the message, part of the verse. Like there are 10 verses to complete the story, and then I use only 2 verses because they suit my interest, or because at that moment I am angry and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use only the 2. This is not the Quranic approach, and this is not the methodology that the Quran wants us to follow. So these are the methodology that I'm proposing as we engage the Quran, inshallah. Now I go to our purpose. The reason this is important, our purpose, because when I come and tell you, I'm going to give you this document, and I want you to go read it. And then you're going to ask me, the first question is, what am I looking for? Because this document is very heavy, and it is the subject that is in the Quran, it is overwhelming and it's very intimidating. There's hundreds and hundreds of subjects in the Quran, and no one in his right mind in our century can understand all the topics. I don't care how brilliant of a sheikh you are, and you'll see later why I am saying that. But it is important that I understand what I'm looking for. So I know the methodology. I know it is for me to read and to understand, and I know that it will guide me. But what am I looking for? So the first thing is, we hear that a lot, is what is my purpose? First, I need to understand my role, who I am, right? Before I engage with this book that can transform my life. I am Khalifa. I am a vicegerent. I am a custodian of this earth. In other words, is that this is my responsibility. And brothers and sisters, when you are a custodian or you are vicegerent, what are you looking for when you read the Quran? You are looking for the Quranic character. Let me give you an example. You have a company. You have a house, whatever that you have, you own. And you want to put someone in charge of that thing, that it is yours, whether it is a company, whether it is a car, whether it is a house, whatever it is. You want to put someone in charge of it. But you want that person to treat what belongs to you the way you want it, because you are putting him in charge. He is not in charge without you. You are putting him in charge, and you want that person is to mold his approach after your character. So if I am a person of fairness, I am a person of justice, I am a person of compassion, I am a person, and if I make that person in charge of something, I want that person to be influenced by my character. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chose you and I to be a custodian of this earth. This is not ours. Whatever space I am in, I live in this house, I work in this company, I go to this mosque, this is a space that I am there for, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling me, you are Hassan, you live in Arcadia, you live in Los Angeles, Asim, you live in Pasadena. This is the space. You're not in charge of the whole earth, but you are the custodian of that space. That space belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to you or to me. I am just a custodian for a short period of time. Allah wants me to behave according to him, not according to my whims or my desire, or to my emotion, or to my anger. So in other words, is the character that I need to shape, it should be absorbed by the Quran. So when I'm reading the Quran, as a Khalifa, as a person in charge of my space, I am looking for what can shape my character. So if Allah tells me I should be a person of the truth, I should speak the truth, and Allah gives me a lot of details how I should speak the truth, that becomes important. So that verse, or the 2 verses, or the 5 verses that I'm reading while I'm listening to the Quran, or while I'm reading the Quran, I should embrace them. Why? Because these verses that are shaping my character should be first and foremost because of my role as a Khalifa. So my purpose is to be a custodian of the space that I'm entrusted with. So Allah wants me to, when I read the Quran, I need to pick from it what can shape my character. And one of the best example, when they asked Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, about the character of the Prophet, she said, "Kana khuluquhu al-Qur'an." His character was shaped by the Quran, because at the end of the day, I am entrusted, as I said, I'm entrusted of that piece. I'm responsible for that piece of my life. Whatever is that piece, I'm entrusted with it. I should behave with this Quranic character. So I hope that I hope so. So anytime I come across verses that can shape my character, I should embrace them. I should ponder on them. I should understand them in depth. And then, as I said earlier, probably all the verses are talking about the truth, because there's no half truth. There's only one truth, and the truth, sometimes, believe it or not, if the truth can implicate me, then I can take the 5th. This is, believe it or not, this is also in the Quran. So then I gather all the verses that can shape me and make me a person of the truth, because it is the heart and the soul of my character. So this is something that when I'm reading the Quran or I'm listening to the Quran recitation, I come across verses that are shaping my character. I should embrace them. I should take note of them. I should go back to them. I should reflect on them. I should ponder on them, hoping that they will change my character and improve my character. So that is the number one. Number 2, okay, so I got it. So I'm looking to the Quran now with the methodology that we talked about. I gather the verses that are talking about character, and I embrace them. I try to, move my character up to that level of morality and ethics. That's great. What is next? So now this is the character. Yes, I'm trying my hard to be sincere and to be a person of the truth and to be modest and not to be arrogant. All these things, I got them. Okay, so I'm working on them. So what is it else that I have to do? Because again, when I'm reading the Quran, I need to understand what I'm looking for. So earlier, as the Khalifa, I'm looking for what shaped my character. The second one is, we find it in Surah Hud, which is chapter 11, verse 61. I'll read the English. And unto Thamud we sent their brother Salih. He said, "O my people, worship God alone. You have no deity other than him. He brought you into being out of the earth and gave you the responsibility to build it. Ask him, therefore, to forgive your sins and then turn towards him in repentance. For verily my sustainer is ever near, responding to the call of whoever calls unto him. Now, the key here, brother and sister, هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها. He has brought you into being out of the earth and gave you the responsibility to build it. Gave you the responsibility to build it. Now, so that means now when I'm reading the Quran, anytime I come across a building, whether building a family, or they're building my character, excuse me, whether building a community, or they're building the character of my children, building, it is vast. For building your spirituality, building your taqwa, building your character, building actual building a factory, all building, right? This is in the widest meaning of wasta'amarakum al-amara is to build. Then I look for what is the counter of building al-fasad. So I watch carefully. When al-fasad comes, when there is a corruption in my spirituality, what can corrupt my spirituality? I can build a healthy spirituality and strong spirituality if I don't see what can al-fasad, what can corrupt it, what can corrupt my identity, what can corrupt my character, what can corrupt my relationship with my wife. I need to build a good relationship with my wife, or with my husband, with my parents, with and so on in life. Building is such a big thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying is, and Allah is saying is that you have that character as a custodian, the Quranic character that we talked about. Now you go on and then really execute. You're not going to sit home and wait. You're going to get out in life and then get your hands dirty in life by building from yourself to your kids, to your family, to the community, to the environment, to all this part of the building that we are entrusted with. So when I'm reading the Quran, my antenna, my radar is picking what can make me a better person as a moral, ethical character, and then can help me become a better builder in whatever arena that it happened I am in. Because life is a journey, and then this year you're looking to build something else. You're looking to build a better family. You're looking to build a better, healthy relationship with your parents or with your neighbors. Whatever that you'll find yourself a priority of building at that time, the antenna and your radar should be when you read in the Quran. So we read the Quran with a purpose. We have the methodology that we talked about that is very guiding, and now we have a clear purpose what we can do. Sheikh Asim, I think, I still have more material, but I am a little bit concerned. If there are any questions, I rather than I continue, I prefer that I can answer them now from what I've covered so far.
I don't see any question yet, but if you wish, you can continue a little more. If I see any questions, I can, ask. Inshallah.
Yeah, I don't know if you brother and sister, you guys know my style. I really appreciate your engagement. I appreciate your question. If you don't agree, please let me know. If things are not clear, please let me know. And again, I am open, and I would love to hear from you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I think now what we talked about is the beginning. We talked about that it is accessible to us. We talked about the methodology. How do I approach the Quran? Is I bring the verses of the topic together. Don't be selective. You should have a full, all the verses that are on certain subject, bring them together. And this is where you could have a profound impact. You can benefit from this divine message. And then when I am engaged in the Quran, I should engage it with my radar, picking all these two things. What helped me become more moral and more ethical, which is al-akhlaq, the character. And then the other one is I am building. This is my responsibility with a character and to build, and I give examples. So now I'd like to go and talk about what are the overarching. When I look at the Quran with its heavy topics, and it is heavy topics and it's very deep. So what am I dealing with from a macro level, a bird's eye, rising 100 miles above and looking at the Quran? I see two things. I see a message, and this is why, and then I'll go in details. I see a message, and this is where we hear the Prophet say Ar-Rasul from Ar-Risala. Ar-Risala means there is a message. There is something I want you to know, and there is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you and I that I want you to do. This is a message. I sent a message to my son. I want you to do this or this or that. My wife sent me a message. I want you to go to the market and then get me this and this. So the message is something to do, something very specific to do. And that's why he is a Rasul. He comes with a message, which we'll talk about that shortly. So in the Quran, the two categories from a macro level, not micro, but macro level, mean from high level, is one of them is Risala, Ar-Rasul, a message. And that's why he is a Rasul. He is a Rasulullah. He is a messenger from Allah. And then there is another aspect which is under al-Nabi, al-Anba, which is, that's why he is a Nabi. A Nabi comes from an-Naba. An-Naba means accounts, predictions, prophecies, something that are beyond the reach of our perception. And bear with me a little bit, I will elaborate. But bear in mind, our prophet has two titles. He is Rasulullah, because he comes with a risala, and he is Nabiullah, he comes with predictions and prophecies and accounts. And they are separate, they are different. So when you are engaging the Quran, you will have, I'm not going to say it's going to happen right away, but you will evolve, inshallah, and you will start training yourself. When you read in the Quran, you read it in attentiveness and with your reason and with ability to say, oh, this is part of the message, and this is part of the prophecy and the predictions and the accounts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll give examples. But these are the two categories that I want us to bear in mind. So we said the message, and then we said, only for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to use the word information, and then we'll elaborate. So the message. What is the message? Right? So the message is simply what to do and what not to do. What are the things that I should do, things I shouldn't do, something I should believe in, something I should not believe in, right? So part of the message is the creed. God is one, the angels, the prophets, the book, nothing unto like him, is my understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a message. The faith, what to believe. Allah is telling me, this is the door to believe, is to believe in God and in the messengers, and this is faith. Spirituality, Allah wants me to be spiritual. What does that mean? To be mindful of him. And I'm not here to take each one and go in depth, but I'm here to really give us an overview what under the message. So when I'm reading the Quran or I'm listening to the Quran, I am aware of this is a message. This is what Allah wants me to do. Then the Quran comes and says, well, la ikraha fi din, that there's no coercion or compulsion of moral faith. This is part of the message. The Quran comes and said, pray and fast and do the zakat and attend to the needies, right? Part of the message wants us to be a people of morality and ethics. Part of the message wants us to build a healthy family. The Quran wants me, when I go divorce, how do I divorce? If I inheritance, how do I divide my inheritance, and so on and so forth. The Quran wants me to deal with those one who I don't agree with, right? How do I engage them? All of this and things like this, brothers and sisters, is part of the message. And this is why he is a Rasul, right? And you could tell each one is a subject on its own. And each one is a wealth. People can write books about each topic of this and so on. Inshallah, in the future, we can give examples and talk more about this. But a risala is what to do, what not to do, what to believe, and what not to believe. This is a message. What is a Nabi then? What is that information that the Quran is talking about? It is predictions, prophecies, knowledge that we don't know. And this is very important because for me to accept the message, I need to believe that you are a messenger of God. So when Musa came, he wanted a freedom for the people of Israel. He wanted to free the slaves. This is a message. This is what the message was, that to free the people of Egypt, the Jews, that they were enslaved by Pharaoh. But a message without something to show that the messenger is a powerful and he is behind it. So we are saying is this message, all these things, spirituality and faith and building a family and morality and ethics, this is all a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, how do I believe in this? So the Prophet has to yatanabba. He has to give a prophecies or predictions or a knowledge that's beyond the perception of the people, something that they don't know. So they say, I see. So this couldn't be from anyone. This has to be from God, because this piece of knowledge Muhammad didn't know. The people, human being of that era didn't know. So who told them? So to affirm that this is from God, Allah had to sprinkle in things to show people that it is, because for the message to be applied, for me to embrace the message and act a good husband and do the inheritance and take care of the orphans, this is a message, and be a moral and ethical, I need to be convinced. So the Quran has another set, another category of information, predictions, prophecies that are beyond the human perception. And how often we, let me give an example, and then I'll come and then I talk about some stories that we hear. So for example, what is under the information? Knowledge, predictions, prophecies, the laws of the cosmic, the whole thing about fataqnahu fatqa, the issue of the explosion, right? How this universe started. Now the issue of the Big Bang, it is very much accepted by all the scientists, and it is pretty much no longer a theory. There were trials and tests and experiments, but the Prophet 1400 years ago spoke about this. This is not a message now. This is to show you that this book that you have, it is not from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is someone who knows way beyond what he and his contemporary knew at that time. The laws of nature, how the wind and how the rain, and the verses after the verses talking about the rain, how it accumulates and how the wind moves it. It just on its own, it's a science. How did Muhammad know about this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Talking about the stories of the past, the Prophet didn't know about. He wasn't sitting with Ibrahim. As a matter of fact, up to today, they have not been able to find in the excavation anything that can connect them with Ibrahim. So some people say, is he real? This is how much history did not record Ibrahim, for example. We don't have a record on Salih or on Shu'aib and all these great messengers and prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are things that ذلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيها إليك. These are stories beyond your perception. We are revealing it to you. And as time progresses, and as we do excavation, and as we there's advancement in technology, we are able to study our discoveries, and we are able to really put our finger on a lot of these stories. But the Prophet didn't know about them, right? You have this book is talking about the day of judgment, talking about afterlife, talking about heaven, talking about hell, talking about so many aspects of physics and science and chemistry, which is beyond the knowledge, way beyond the knowledge. Even up to today, people are still discovering things in the Quran. And we have heard so many stories of people who embraced Islam because they said, how did the Prophet know about the stages from a sperm to a human being, all the 7 stages or whatever stages you go through? So one of the French doctors said, it's impossible. We just discovered that not too long ago. How Muhammad 1400 years ago, where technology was so primitive and so limited, and he wasn't even known to be a person of science or knowledge, or had access to India or to Greek or to whatever. How did he know? And even the contemporary of that time, it took 1200 years before they discovered that, because now we have microscope and we are able to dig deeper and understand. So this is a category that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in the book to support the message, to show the people like you and I that this is not from Muhammad. So when the book is talking about how you build a healthy family, take it seriously. How to build a healthy community, take it seriously, because it's not from Muhammad. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason it is from Allah, because who would have known about all these things, which is under the information. I'm not sure if I picked the right title for it, but within the parentheses, I put knowledge, predictions, prophecies, and so on. And this is where these are the 2 major categories. So when you are reading the Quran, you are now with an eye, with your radar, your antenna, with an eye, you're looking at, oh, this is here history. Allah is telling me about Ibrahim. This is not a message. The message, do and not to do, believe and not to believe. This is not about this is for me to learn from Ibrahim. So I can take lessons from Ibrahim. I can take lessons from Moses. I take lessons from Salih, and so on and so forth. So this is, brothers and sisters, are the 2 overarching categories that the entirety of the Quran is about. So I think with that, I believe that time is up, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if I said something good, it's really from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if I have any mishaps or things not clear, it's primarily because of my shortcomings and my limited knowledge. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. And again, I really hope that you could tell me if you have any questions, any remarks. I'll be more than happy to hear.
Thank you, Brother Hassan. There's one question, actually, 2. The first one is there a book that has categorized all the verses about a topic in Quran?
No, actually, I have to tell you, I hope, I don't know if there is, with all honesty, because the subjects are tremendous. But the purpose of this approach is in each and every one of us. For example, whoever asked me that question, let's say you are a person who is a caretaker. I would recommend that you will gather all the verses about compassion, about mercy, and about caring, and then you create something. You bring all the verses together and you create something. If you are a person of physics, I have a friend of mine who has a PhD in finance, and then he is the head of a department in Kuwait. So one time I told him, I asked him a few things about riba, about interest, and he was recycling what things were said 1,300 years ago. I told him, I'm sorry, but I think with your knowledge, with so much advancement nowadays, you should gather all the verses are pertinent about the topic, and then what is something new today? What are you offering something new? So there's no book that I know of. Probably there is. I'm just not aware of. But forget about this. Engage the Quran. Not forget. If there is, find it. But my recommendation is engage the Quran. Find a topic of your choice. Gather all the verses that are pertinent to that topic, and then have that heavy message. Let it go within you, and use your background, use your knowledge, use what Allah has bestowed upon you, and produce something that can make us, oh wow, this is impressive. That's what I would say. And probably there's a book, but each and every one of us should really try to produce something and work on something based on their priorities and knowledge and passion. What's the other question, brother?
Yeah, I think someone is trying to respond to this. One is saying that search engine at Islamic City. The other one is saying concordance of the Quran, the one, Mujamul Mufahas. But those are just, like categorized, but there's no explanation, I believe, in them. Just
yeah. I think again, I'm inviting the audience. Each one, don't look elsewhere. Look at yourself, and then you produce. We always want to wait for somebody else, look for somebody else. I think it's time for us, with our knowledge, our background, to produce.
Okay, I think you're going to laugh at this question. One is asking, is it okay to have dogs in the house? We hear
if you know Arabic, I would tell you the best is Madhab al-Maliki. I found myself, my son about 2 years ago insisted wanted a dog, and I struggled all my life. I've been, dog is najasa and it's haram, and angels will not enter the house if you have a dog, and all the things that I was reared with when I was young. So when my son, was emotionally and was crying and all those things, I said, fine, go ahead, but I didn't want him close to me. I didn't want him I wanted to be outside. I had a lot of restrictions. So what I did is I really wanted to do a research. I didn't want to only rely on what I've learned. So I went and I listened to a few, but the one that impressed me the most, and I really respect, is Madhab al-Maliki. Malik really went into this issue and went in depth. So I invite you, don't take my word for it. I personally, yes, the Hassan of today is not the same Hassan as 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't even get near a dog. Now I have no problem whatsoever. So I've evolved, but I spend a lot of hours in reading and listening on YouTube channels about the dog slash specifically Madhab Maliki. And I know that Dr. Khalid al-Fadl also wrote some good material about this topic. So I invite you to do your own research. But Brother Hassan, I have no issue with it.
Great, thank you so much. And the final question is it true that not all messengers are Nabi?
Yes, there are let us define a Nabi. As I said earlier, a Nabi is someone that brings something like Moses came and he has 9 miracles. So this is al-Bayyinah. This is to prove that he is from God, because he was doing something and out of the ordinary. Either you say things out of the ordinary that is proven to be right, or you show something. So there is like Shu'aib, for example, or Hud, they didn't bring any, I mean, again, I read about them, I don't know which of them, but they had no, there's no miracles, there's nothing to prove that, they are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give them, where Salih he did, which is al-Naqa. But some of them, yes, they were only a message. Allah don't want you to take associate with him. And by the way, inshallah, in the future, if I'm given the opportunity, I would love to talk about how the evolution of religion over a period of time. So you will find some messengers, the only message was not to take associate with God. That's it. Whereas our prophet, the message is so wealthy because the maturity, we became much more mature and much more ready. But some messenger, their message was only لا تشرك بالله شيئا, or be kind to your parents. That's it. They did not have any miracle to show. And the beauty of our book is, up to today, the book is still in the second category, not the message, but second category of prophecy, and the predictions are still revealing things. It's very astonishing. Like I was hearing the other day about the numbers, like the certain, like how many of this word and how many of this word equal, and the whole science of numbers in the Quran is amazing. The balance and the intricacy of that. How there's no way the prophet, he didn't have a computer, he didn't have someone to come down and count. So there's the Quran, the beauty of it in second category is keep on revealing, reassuring us. Unfortunately, and this is what I like what Dr. Jasser Hadhoud is doing, because what Dr. Jasser is doing is really digging into the second category of cosmic nature, things that Allah has put intentionally to keep reminding us that this book is from him.
Great. Thank you so much, Brother Hassan. So this was really beautiful presentation. This was the part one. So we're going to continue next Thursday with part two. Do you have any requests from our audience for the next?
No, I think, I hope, and I plead to the audience to reflect on what I share with you today. So next time you will have some questions. For example, I would have liked to hear a little bit more about the tartil, because that is contrary to what we have been told all our life, for example. And what do you mean that my understanding is colored by my background, by my learning, by what I know? There are certain things, so I really invite you to, because this is the methodology, it's extremely important. And then the question is, what do we do after figuring out there's a message here and there is, prophecy? Hopefully next session, inshallah, I can elaborate.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Brother Hassan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless your family, and have a great night, inshallah. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wa alaikum assalam. Dear brothers and sisters, we are going to pray Salat al-Isha, inshallah. Let me prepare the screen for you and call the adhan afterwards. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر، سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم، غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. يا أيها المزمل، قم الليل إلا قليلا، نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا، أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا. إن ناشئة الليل هي أشد وطئا وأقوم قيلا. إن لك في النهار سبحا طويلا. واذكر اسم ربك وتبتل إليه تبتيلا. رب المشرق والمغرب لا إله إلا هو، لا إله إلا هو فاتخذه وكيلا. واصبر على ما يقولون واهجرهم هجرا جميلا. وذرني والمكذبين أولي النعمة ومهلهم قليلا. إن لدينا أنكالا وجحيما، وطعاما ذا غصة وعذابا أليما. يوم ترجف الأرض والجبال وكانت الجبال كثيبا مهيلا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم، غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثا وطائفة من الذين معك، والله يقدر الليل والنهار. علم أن لن تحصوا فتاب عليكم، فاقرؤوا ما تيسر من القرآن. علم أن سيكون منكم مرضى وآخرون يضربون في الأرض يبتغون من فضل الله، وآخرون يقاتلون في سبيل الله
فاقرؤوا ما تيسر منه وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله هو خيرا وأعظم أجرا واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصراط المستقيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إياك نعبد وإياك الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على سيدنا يوم يقوم الحساب. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام. تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله.
Subhanallah, 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 subhanallah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وطاعتك اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات O Allah, the Lord of the whole universe, the most merciful, the most compassionate, please make faith dear to us and beautify it in our hearts and make disbelief, sin and disobedience dislike to us and make us among the rightly guided. O Allah, we ask you for guidance, taqwa, virtue and sufficiency. O Allah, you are the controller of the hearts. Please turn our hearts to your religion and obedience. O Allah, show us the truth as true and inspire us to follow it and show us falsehood as falsehood and inspire us to abstain from it. O Allah, please grant healings for those who are sick and have mercy upon the souls of those who passed away. Forgive their shortcomings and mistakes and accept them in the paradise. Ameen. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق الله العظيم الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our prayers, our du'as, dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would like to kindly remind you that inshallah, starting this coming Friday, Monday, our nightly programs are going to be at 8 p.m. with new time. because time is changing. So please make sure, inshallah, join us at 8 p.m. until Ramadan. And then when the Ramadan starts, we are going to have brief break during the month of Ramadan for our nightly regular programs. Of course, we're going to have our Taraweeh programs. And speaking of Ramadan, we're getting closer and closer. About 20 days left, inshallah. Please increase your, ibadat, whatever you do, fasting and extra, prayers and all sorts of preparation for Ramadan, inshallah. Of course, when we, reach Ramadan, alhamdulillah, inshallah. So we're going to spend most of our times with fasting and recitation of the Qur'an and the prayers. It's going to be a beautiful month again. So, and also I would like to quickly remind you that we will continue with Zoom connections during the weekdays from Mondays to Fridays. And then the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, will be at the center. And we will still, be broadcasting our programs via Facebook on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be the same usual program, the recitation and the commentaries and the Taraweeh program and the kids recitation. And it's going to be another beautiful Ramadan, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of you and grant healings grant health, all of you, that we all, inshallah, can reach Ramadan in health and safety. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Have a great night, inshallah.